All right. A very good evening to each one of you. Thank you for joining us today. And we are delighted. I am personally so excited and so happy to have, this session today for a variety of reasons. The first one is that this is our 13th webinar. So, we started having these webinars with a lot of anxiety and trepidation on whether or not we will be able to do a good job. So, I am so happy that we have reached our 13th number. I think 13 is lucky for many. And it's great to have a topic like financial planning. So, I am so excited about that. And above all, I am thrilled to have my very dear friend and somebody who's also my financial guide to be here for this session, who has gently, encouragingly nudged me and guided me to think about financials, to think about how important it is to understand money and how important it is to become friends with money. So it is my absolute pleasure to have this session today and have this conversation with Alpa Shah on compassionate caring. Welcome, Alpa.
Thank you, my very dear friend Bhavna. Thank you for inviting me.
Um, I am going to take some time to tell our new participants about Caregiver Sathi and what our venture is all about, and then introduce Alpa and get into our conversation today. As a brief introduction to Caregiver Sathi, Caregiver Sathi is an a social venture, which is to create an ecosystem of well being and healing for primary caregivers. Family caregivers of those navigating terminal illness, chronic, or any other life limiting conditions have unique challenges. We support them by becoming their companions through their journeys and beyond. What would we like to do? We wish to create an environment of well being and healing by empowering the caregivers. Now, empowering can sound like a very pedantic or, a position of a very patronizing position. But I think we don't want to take that position. We are saying that caregivers are empowered. They just need access and resources to feel empowered. We also believe that each one of us has a right to lead full lives. Whether or not we have a medical condition, whether or not we are looking after someone with a medical condition, however long the life is. So, whether your life is 3 days or 3 months or 3 years, it should be full. And one way in which you can lead a full life is if you have a view to caregiving or caring, which is compassionate. So, how do we do this? We use technology enabled systems to build human connection. We have awareness programs which are both online and offline. We have a helpline. We run healing circles or support groups. We have intensive social media based communication, given the last few months have been so challenging, but we do have offline outreach programs as well. We provide access to relevant information, and we have a platform which is both a website and an app. What have we done so far? We have built a website, we have built a community of caregivers, we have an app, we do training programs which are both online and offline. The app is for caregivers to use. It is available both on Android and iOS. We have a community on Facebook and WhatsApp. Uh, we run a video series called Gentle Warriors. This video series is about stories of caregivers who have perhaps completed their caregiving journeys and are looking back to share their journeys with people who are caregivers now. In fact, our today's speaker is also featured in one of our videos, and I totally believe that she's a gentle warrior. Um, so she is now featuring on our Compassionate Caring series as an expert. Compassionate Caring series are uh, conversations or videos or materials with experts so that we can talk about the well-being of caregivers. We provide coaching to caregivers, family counseling, and a volunteer-based respite care program. There are many ways in which you can get involved. I strongly recommend, whether or not you are a caregiver, if you are, especially if you are a well-wisher of a caregiver, please consider joining the healing circles or support groups. A lot of times people say you should join the support group, but I think that's not a very good idea. I think it is a better idea is to say, let me join the support group, let me learn something, and then I can help the caregiver. Of course, let us know caregiving stories. We have now also started a podcast in which we talk about caregiver stories anonymously. So if there are some people who would like to share their stories anonymously, you could send that to us and we will share it on our podcast. You could spread the word in person and on social media. You could volunteer with us. You could help generate finances by donating and raising funds. We have an internship program where we encourage young people to join our organization so that they have a sense of what does it mean to work in the healthcare space, in a startup, and in aspects that are about changing the social narrative around caregivers and caregiving. Finally, you can also help recommend partners, give us referrals, and help us get inroads into organizations that might be interested in implementing our training programs. We use a framework for the idea of well-being and building resilience. This framework that we use has 7 elements of well-being. At the very center is physiological, spiritual, and psychological well-being. And in terms of our interface with the world, there is social well-being, and very important in today's lives is financial and legal well-being. So a lot of people tell us that financial well-being or medical expenses can be the most debilitating part of long-term illness and a caregiver. The other elements of well-being are life and work purpose and creative expression. So we consider all these elements of well-being when we help caregivers understand stress. So stress can be caused by an imbalance in someone's well-being, and long-term unaddressed chronic stress can lead to mental health issues. We have seen in the pandemic that stress that is unaddressed has caused significant mental health issues. Building resilience can be done through practices of mind, body, and soul. Sorry about that. So now a brief introduction to the speaker, who has actually a very long list of achievements and credentials, but I will say this very simply. So Alpa has worked for more than 25 years in various corporations, including Tata and SBI Group. She started her own venture, Empower Education, a company which empowers and educates people from all walks of life on financial literacy. So I think she busts the myth that women don't understand money. And I'm so proud of that. She heads the educational initiative, financial awareness training, under which she has empowered more than 2 lakh corporate employees, women and youth, on personal financial literacy. She's extremely passionate about encouraging women in money management. I can say that from personal experience. She is a managing trustee at Freedom Foundation, which works for the upliftment of low-income group society. Her work has helped dabbawalas, taxi drivers, auto rickshaw drivers, sex workers, home guards, maids, Mahila Bachat Ghat. I'm getting goose flesh. Third genders, fire brigade workers, and so many more. She's also authored a book, Every Woman Should Invest. I have read this book. I must say it has really changed my life. Published by CNBC TV 18. It's a practical guide to managing a millennial woman's financial journey. Alpa has received several awards, such as the Most Influential Leader of 2018 award by the Future Women Leader Summit, Hindu Spiritual Forum Award for contribution towards women in society, the Top 100 Women in Finance for the year 2019, award by AIWMI, Business Excellence and Innovative Business Practices Academia Award for 2019, by New Delhi Institute of Management, and the Women Economic Forum Award 2020 by the Women Economic Forum Madurai. It is my immense pleasure to welcome you, Alpa, and have this discussion today, before which we will have some small admin announcements for our participants. While this discussion will last 60 minutes, there are three parts. The first part will be a presentation or a discussion. We will then have, we will request you to write your comments and questions in the chat box as you listen to this. We will have a question answer session. You can raise your hand and ask questions. And finally, please give us feedback and suggestions. Request you to keep your microphones muted at all times so that there is minimal disturbance. Also, if your camera is not stable and you're not seated at one place, please keep your camera off. Otherwise, we would love to see your face. So please keep your camera on. We are live on Facebook today. There are very few sessions we choose to go live on, and this is one such. And we will be referring to this discussion for our future programs. With that, I would like to ask Alpa to start the session and say, Alpa, what is your relationship with caregiver Sathi?
Thank you so much, Bhavna. And I don't know from where you gathered so much information about me. Once again, thank you all the participants for joining the show. I know Bhavna since almost now 3 years, and the passion which she works for the caregiver Sathi is unbeatable. I was not even much aware of the difference between caretakers and caregivers. Thanks to Bhavna, who has opened my eyes, and I think I have started thinking 360 degrees. I was not even realizing that I was a primary caregiver for my mother, actually. And then I started understanding and asked questions to myself, and then also got the answers. So let me start with my own real story. And you all know there will come time in your life when your loved one are gone. And you will find so much comfort in the fact that you were their caregivers, and I'm one of them. I'm so happy to tell you that I was the main caregiver for my mother. And my mother, throughout her life, was the main caregiver for her father in law, for her mother in law, for my father, for her brother, and so many. I think by nature she was always caring and concerned for others. And let me tell you, she was so healthy and so fit and so active. So much work she used to do. I have never ever seen her falling sick. Can you believe this? And one fine day at the age of 70, suddenly she got dengue. And I never thought that it's going to be so serious. And this illness is really going to be taking a very big step it from my life. It's going to be, my life is going to change after this. I just thought that she has got some fever and some dengue, and it's going to be like curable. But I think the whole life changed for me as a caregiver and for her as well. uh, Actually, I'm fortunate that those who cared for me and I could really care for her. I'm not a science student. I'm a typical money finance person. But suddenly, when your dear one, that to your mother, is not feeling well, you try to, do so many research, you try to do so many things. Unfortunately, it was 7 years back and Bhavna was not in my life. Caregiver Sathi was not there. I think such organizations and people like Bhavna, they really help caregivers in such a big way. Everything I did on my own, the research, the doctors, the reports, from pillar to post, what to do, how to do. I was the main caregiver and I was taking all the decisions. So that scare, you're always scared that whether you're taking the right kind of decision or not. But I could manage that. Trust me, when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, after dengue, she was diagnosed with cancer. And because of the cancer, I think my whole world was changed. I couldn't believe that this has happened in my house or with my mother. See, everyone feels that nothing is going to happen to us or to our dear and near ones. First time in my life, I heard about cancer, and somebody so near and dear to me was hit with cancer. And uh, and and then I realized that what I should do as a caregiver. So there are two sides of story. One, as a caregiver, how I can really motivate and how I can do something much better with my mom. But she just had 2 lakhs rupees in mediclaim. There was nothing else. She had no critical illness, no cancer specific mediclaim. Nothing was there. And then you know how difficult it is.
Mm.
The entire life is changed. One, you are emotionally completely broken. You have to be so strong because you are the main caregiver and you have to take decisions. And secondly, if there are no finances available, how will you give the best treatment for your mother? Fortunately, somehow I had my investments. But what happens is then I had to broke those investments. I had to stop them and I had to use that for my mother's illness.
Mm.
So I learned few things when this hit to my mother. First and foremost, I revamped my entire protection planning basket. So whenever we discuss about holistic goal-based financial planning, I always tell people that never ever mix your protection planning basket with your goal-based financial planning basket or the wealth creation basket. It is completely different. And I did the first thing is that I took for myself critical illness policy, which I was not having. We at times feel that Mediclaim is everything. And once you take Mediclaim, I think you have done. But actually 67% of the people, they get critical illness disease and they don't have critical illness separately. So the first and foremost, I entirely changed my protection planning basket, and then I took critical illness. Then I also took cancer specific mediclaim separately. Even though I have critical illness, which covers cancer, but there are 100 types of cancer, and critical illness covers hardly 7 or 8 such major cancers. So
Oh.
what I did, yeah, yeah, it is a real big eye opening for, it was a real big eye opening for me also. Usually we feel that critical illness covers all the cancers, but I request each one of you to read the fine prints of your critical illness policy which you have bought. Usually it covers 8 cancers or maximum 10 types of cancers. Of course, they are all major cancers, and maybe 60 to 70% of the cancers are, which occurs in us, are covered. but you never know. What if you get the other cancer which is not covered in critical illness policy of yours? So I took the cancer specific mediclaim separately. And also there is a upper cap of 50 lakhs rupees as far as cancer policy is concerned. So I took the fullest 50 lakhs total. So from 5 lakh to 50 lakhs. But I would suggest the premium is so low, you must take the highest one. I mean the higher one. 50 lakhs is what, if you can afford, nothing like it. You must take it. And I will surely tell you in detail what kind of premiums, etc., are there for what age group in cancer. So these are the things which I revamped, I changed. And then also the most important two things I did, being a financial person, and I understand financial planning very well. But as they say, how much ever you know, at times you make mistakes, right? And because of the less priority you have in your own life for all these things, you don't take so many things which is really applicable and most important for your life. So I did two things. First, I did the emergency medical care corpus investment. Now, this is not heard of. Nobody takes this seriously. After pandemic, people have started, investing their money in liquid mutual funds, at least 6 months expenses or salary, if in case something happens to your job, or if in case the pandemic extends and if you can't manage your life well. But nobody thinks of that, what if your mediclaim, critical illness mediclaim, or cancer specific mediclaim, or surgical mediclaim, accidental coverage, which you all have taken, is not sufficient at times. Then you must have a corpus or a fund separately in your financial planning, at least 5% or 10% every year, whatever you can invest, you must put it in your emergency medical fund. Let's pray to God that we never have to, use that fund. But if you don't want to use that fund, you can definitely help some other people whom you want to help. So such fund, such corpus, such investment is extremely important in holistic goal-based financial planning. So today, in last 7 years, Bhavna, you won't believe that corpus itself is more than 50 lakhs. What I have a cancer means it's growing because I've invested that fund. I'm not going to touch that fund because that is only kept for the emergency medical requirement in my life, for me or for my dear and near ones. And I also started one SIP, systematic investment plan. So whenever I start SIP, I give name to that particular SIP instead of the name of the particular mutual fund scheme, which is at times not so attractive for us to remember. And we don't, also it's not liked by so many people because it's very, very financial jargons and terminologies which they use. So what I have done is, every SIP I have done, I have named it. So one SIP for Alpa's retirement, one SIP for my elder son's education, younger son's education. That way, one SIP for my charity, social work, whatever is my passion. And one SIP every month I am doing of 5,000 rupees for my medical emergency. This is above, yes, this is above my critical illness, mediclaim, cancer specific mediclaim, surgical mediclaim, accidental coverage, and then this.
Very interesting, Alpa. You're saying that you have so much cover and yet you continue to invest in, you have dedicated one SIP to this emergency, which is over and above. Please go ahead.
Because Bhavna, I learned it very hard way, no? My mother, nobody could predict. She was so healthy. I mean, I still don't believe that she's gone and this happened to her. So if I'm in my 40s and if I have a history in my family, two things which is in my hand I should do.
Mm.
First, I have to remain healthy.
Yes.
I have to do the best for that.
Yes.
And secondly, I have to have adequate coverage and investments. So
Mm.
if in case, God forbidden, anything happens to me, it is 100% curable if I detect it early. So I have to go for my body checkup every year.
Mm.
I have to control my weight and I have to look after my health. And secondly, I should have enough money so that I get the best treatment and I can bounce back. As simple as that.
Very nicely said. Very nicely said. So there's a question here from one of our very dear friends. She says that, my do you think if my health, my Mediclaim says, does not mention that critical illness is not covered?
Still Mediclaim is not 99%. You have to read the fine prints. It doesn't cover the 32 major critical illnesses. I repeat, 32 major critical illnesses like heart, lungs, cancer, etc. You have to read the fine prints. Very few cases, Mediclaim covers the critical illnesses. But again, there is no harm if you take it separately. In fact, my personal suggestion is you must have multiple policies. You must have the mixture of government and private policies. Because one Mediclaim or one critical illness policy may not be sufficient for you, and we will discuss this in detail. In fact, my main suggestion to all of you is that you must take multiple policies and also top it up and even super top it up. Because at times in topping up of Mediclaim, you just get the lump sum amount, which is sum assured in case of critical illness on the diagnosis. But what if it is repetitive? What if there are so many expenses which you have to continuously bear? What if it happens again next year, second year, third year? So for that, you must have the super top-up plan also in your Mediclaim, and multiple Mediclaim or policies or critical illness policies helps, because something is covered in some policy and the other feature is covered in some other policy. So make the best of every policy and totally you are getting most of the money back.
Hmm. But Arpat, can we just take a little step back and say, so, very often caregivers, and because we are doing specific conversations with somebody who is an active caregiver, they must be burdened by medical expenses already. So they may not have done the insurance earlier, just like you said, or the insurance or might not cover everything that you're facing. So already financial burden is high, right? Now, if my income is, let's say, every month X, what percent of my monthly income do I invest? And what is the best distribution of that investment? You don't worry about the
Very
questions,
good
I will bring
question,
them up.
and I'm so passionate. It's a very good question, Bhavna.
Please go ahead.
It's a very good question, and I'm so passionate to spread these formulas, ratios, because when you make a person little bit process driven, no Bhavna, it helps. It's like when you tell a student that you cannot cover the entire portion in one day, but
Mm,
when you break it up, when you give him the target,
mm,
and when he tries to be a process driven student, I think it's achievable, no? And then he exactly knows how to get those marks. The same way we all human beings, when we tell them the ratios, the percentages, how much to spend, how much to invest, etc., then they kind of encourage to do. So I will make it very simple. Usually, I tell people that you have to follow certain ratio of investments and spending in your life. So 30-30, 40-50, and 50-100. So when you are 30 years old, I would request that at least 30% you should try and invest of what you're earning.
Mm.
When you're 40 years old, you should invest 50% of what you earn. And when you're 50 years old, you can invest entire 100% because of your process driven approach of last 20 years, which you invested from 30 to 50. Now, out of this, suppose the ratio you calculated and you have to invest, say, 100 rupees. Now, out of this 100 rupees, entire 100 rupees you cannot invest for your wealth creation or for your dreams and goals or for your skydivings of the world. No, you have to protect yourself and you have to protect your near and dear ones and especially the dependent ones. So over here I am talking about 3 baskets. So first is your tax planning, second is your wealth creation planning, and the third basket is very, very important, which is your protection planning. And this is how, at least out of 100 rupees, I would suggest 15 rupees, 15% must go in your protection planning basket. In a very, very process driven way. You cannot say that what I'm going to get back by paying the premium, I'm never going to fall sick, why I should pay, because this is something absolutely not doable. In India, we don't have any social security and you cannot take your life for granted. You must understand that you have to pay some premium and pray to God that you never ever have to avail these mediclaim and critical illness policies. You have to do it. You cannot think that way, that why I should pay premium. I'm never going to use that thing. Instead, I should invest my money. Think for a second. What if something happens to you? You will have to stop all your investments. Everything will stop if you don't have mediclaim and critical illness mediclaim. So pay those premiums, put aside those 10, 15, 20% of your investments amount in protection planning basket and do it in a very methodical way. And there is nothing like absolutely a perfect formula. Every individual is different. Like for me, I had a history, I'm in that phase of my life. I better have more cancer specific mediclaim and I better pay more premiums. Because for me, my life is right now evolving. My dreams and goals are not that important right now. I have achieved whatever I wanted to achieve in my life. For me, the first and foremost is my health and my medical treatment, and my priorities changed. So I am in fact giving 30 to 40% weightage and importance to my protection planning basket and my medical requirements. I would love to have the best of the treatments rather than wearing diamond jewelry or rather than going on a foreign trip. So your priority is what you have to decide. But bare minimum, I would suggest each and everyone to spend at least 15% of your investment money on protection planning basket.
15% of the amount that you have
100 rupees, yes.
what you are investing, right?
Yes.
And your investment is what portion of your income?
So 100 minus age is the formula. Now, so usually what we suggest is 100 minus age. So if you're 30 years old, Bhavna, 100 minus 30 is equal to 70. 70 rupees should go in your wealth creation planning.
Okay.
Your retirement, your midlife, your children planning, your dreams and goals, your charity, all those things are very important, right? So the major portion when you are young, you should put it in your wealth creation basket.
Okay.
And the other 30 rupees should go in your tax planning or in your protection planning basket. So I divided that into 15-15.
Understood.
But it's up to you. There is nothing like fixed ratio. You have to decide what your priority.
Yes, so I think what you're saying is that the first step is first list down what you want to get done in your life
Yes.
and then divide it. But I will still speak for caregivers and I will still say, you know this, when there is illness in the family, first attention is patient's health, patient's treatment, patient's food, patient's care. Yeah. And we also have a question right now that perhaps if there is some disability, then you cannot get an insurance. If there is a pre existing condition, let's say a kidney condition or a renal condition, then also you cannot get an insurance. So let's say insurance is not available. In that event, what can you need to unmute yourself, Alpa?
Sorry.
I'm saying, let's say insurance is not available. If insurance is not available, then what can I do to manage my finances in such a way that I can still have money available for my expenses? So, insurance is one way of having money, right? There could be other ways. And let's say insurance is not available.
Yeah, this is something which most of in our country faces, because 80% of the people are either underinsured or not insured, means not adequately insured. And this question is so valid, Bhavna. So for I would like to answer this question in two ways. First, for the patient.
Yeah.
Suppose the patient is diagnosed and he or she doesn't have adequate money.
Mm.
So, what can he or she do? And then what caregiver should do to help in control this situation. So, both the questions I will answer. So, first of all, if suppose a patient is diagnosed with any illness, he or she should not feel that they cannot go for further mediclaim, or they cannot go and take more insurance policies. So we suggest that the person should still seek an insurance cover. However, now because the situation has changed, one may need to take more number of policies. And basically, there are three steps which I would like to suggest here. Apply with the public sector insurance company and never ever think that you will not get it. I have so many case studies and stories which I have come across. My cousin, he was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 38. My first cousin, and he thought that now I cannot take mediclaim, further insurance, further critical illness. My history is bad. I'm very sad. But there is a cool period, or there is from 2 years to 6 years, every different policy manufacturers or mediclaim who is offering you mediclaim or critical illness mediclaim, they have their own rules and regulations, and the underwriter have their own criteria under which maybe in 2 to 6 years, maximum 6 years, usually it is 4 years, you are cancer free, and you can get as much as critical illness you want to. Yes, the premium would be slightly higher, obviously, because you have already got that once, but not that high that you cannot afford. So the first step for the patient also, for example, sometimes what happens, we have a hip bone fracture or we have a knee operation, and then we feel that I can't do anything, I can't take anything. But in future, you can get any other disease, no, which is not connected with your knee operation or a hip bone operation. So the insurance policy givers are very much aware, and they have their own due diligence. So you don't worry. They will say no if they can't give you, but in 99% of the cases, they give. So your duty is to immediately ensure that you have to take mediclaim and critical illness policy. how much ever disease or a illness you have got. So first and foremost, you remove from your mind that you can't get, and apply with your bank also. You know, at times your bank is tied up with like so many insurance companies, and you can buy this insurance policy from your bank also. Even if they are giving you 3 lakh, 5 lakh, whatever amount, you should take it. The step number two, it's step number two is also very important. You have to approach a private insurance company. Usually the private insurance companies are quicker, faster, and they are definitely coming forward to give you policy. So you have to approach them, and you have to approach multiple private insurance policy, and you will surely get it. Maybe you are rejected in two or three, but the other two, three private insurance policy will, they will surely give you. And these are my experiences, which I'm sharing it with you. Now you have to, the step number three, which I would like to tell here is that take a top-up insurance policy, which works like an add-on policy for you. And the premiums are also very, very low. So, as a patient, whatever illness you got today, promise me that you will apply for further mediclaim and critical illness policies for yourself. I'm 100% sure you will get it. And I have seen so many people, even heart surgeries, after the heart surgeries and all, they've got it. And in so many cases, even the kidney transplant patients have got further mediclaim and critical illness policy, and they have started doing dialysis, etc., also with the help of that policy. Of course, the premiums are little high, but you will get it. So this is the portion for the patients. Now, at times, immediately you don't have money, right? So the burden comes on caregiver. Caregiver will either have to break their investments, or they will have to go for the loans, or they will have to, definitely do something which they must have never thought of, as extreme as selling the jewelry and all. And I've seen people doing that, trust me. But this is what is only thing which caregivers can do, unfortunately, because in our country there is nothing for the middle class people. Actually, if you ask me personally, the lower strata income group people are still taken care by the NGOs, by the government, by the individual donors and the social workers which are there in the hospital. But if you are a middle class person, you cannot even ask money from anyone. And if you don't have adequate mediclaim or critical illness policy, all you are left is with either selling your jewelry, or you have to stop your investments, or you have to borrow money from. And this is the hardcore reality. Sorry if I'm sounding very scary or negative, but for the middle class people, this is what is left.
Sure.
Because, yeah. So,
There is a question. So, for example, I was very intrigued by your point that, in case of multiple policies, first of all, if you take multiple policies, what's the benefit, right? You can't apply to more than one for claims, right?
yeah, but Bhavna, the surgical mediclaim, for example, let me explain you here. So what happens is, when you take a mediclaim policy and you had a fracture, let's take a very simple case.
Sure.
Why always talk about big diseases? So, for example, corona, for that matter, if you are hospitalized. So what happens is Mediclaim gives you the hospitalization expenses and little bit of medical expenses and few other things like reports and all. But when it is your surgery is done, there is a cap in every Mediclaim policy. You cannot get beyond a certain amount for the doctor which you hire for the surgery.
Right.
Now, at times, we want the best doctor to get operated from. And the doctor's surgical charges are covered in surgical Mediclaim separately.
Okay.
So Mediclaim will give you say for example, you have spent 2 lakhs rupees for your knee operation.
Mm.
But Mediclaim has your Mediclaim policy has a cap that the surgical expenses we will give you only up to 40,000 rupees. Whereas we have paid doctor 60,000 rupees. So that gap, that difference of 20,000 rupees, you can claim separately, additionally from surgical Mediclaim. And this is how, instead of getting say 60-70% of the claim, you at times can definitely get 90-95% of the claim. And multiple policies also works wonderfully well. You cannot claim at the same amount at two different places. Obviously, that is cheating. That you cannot do. But whatever is not given by one particular policy of yours, obviously, if the other policy is giving you, you can surely claim that.
Okay. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. And I think that it's also important that we understand this difference between government insurance firms and private insurance firms. So, we know many people who may have taken insurance with one particular organization, but that's because they may have chosen that the premium was the least and they have chosen them. So, what is the criteria for selecting a good insurance company?
It's a very, very beautiful question. And let me tell you, I'm not going to market any product or any brand over here. But yes, certain things which you should keep in mind before going for any Mediclaim policy or critical illness policy. So, as I told you, the government driven organizations are hardly 3 or 4 in our country, and everyone knows which they are. All the 4 are good, and you must go for Mediclaim with them for sure. And even in private, the main and most important aspect when you choose a policy is their claim settlement ratio. So claim settlement ratio is nothing but the record, the history, the character certificate of that organization, that how many claims they have settled, and the ratio, and in how many days also. So usually I would select any particular organization whose claim settlement ratio is like above 88 or 90%, and which is available. If you ask me, almost 60 to 70% of the private organizations who are offering us the policies are having 88 to 90% claim settlement ratio. So we are lucky to have such wide choice. And then the second most important aspect of choosing a particular brand or a company or organization is that your comfort level, your feel good factor with that particular brand. What do you feel, that are they going to be there for 10, 15, 30, 40 years? Because whenever you are investing in policy, it's a long-term affair. So you have to understand one thing, that how much ever good features a particular policy has, but if you don't have the trust factor with them, you should not go for it.
So
Right?
I would, yes. Let's say that, let's go back to the other question, which is, so yes, there is a whole world of insurance. Even if you have illness, you can probably take more insurance, you can have whatever, whatever. So one path is the insurance path. This, I want you to focus on the non-insurance path. So let's say that for whatever reason, either because of disability or because of pre-existing renal condition, or because of, I just didn't invest in insurance. So I don't have insurance, and now I have to manage a lot of expense. I may also have to hire a nurse or an attendant, etc., which is not covered by anybody. So how do I manage my money when I have lots of expenses?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question to answer actually. But I will tell you what I follow in my life and what I suggest to whoever asks for my advice. First and foremost, you have to learn the budgeting aspect in your life. And if you can read books on budgeting, if you can watch films on budgeting, you must spend time on that. Life is all about time management, priority, and budgeting. How much ever money you have, Bhavna, you will always feel it's less. And how much ever stress you have in your life, if you are a positive person, you will see there is no stress in my life. So why I'm talking about stress and money over here is that when you are a caregiver or when you are a patient yourself, money and stress is definitely a big concern in your life. And if you can handle these two things, you can fight with any disease in your life. Nothing else is important. So why I'm telling you this is that budgeting, if you are a master in budgeting, you will automatically be so wise in your money management and you will spend so properly, wisely that you will never ever find any shortage of money in your life.
So,
And yeah,
sorry, I'm just interrupting you because there's something happened to me with budgeting. You know that you know my struggles with money, and I'm very afraid of one, counting money, two, budgeting, three, what will happen if I realize that my expenses are more than my income. So, out of fear, I don't do the exercise only. I say, ठीक है, देखा जाएगा, जब होगा तब होगा, इसमें पढ़ना ही नहीं है. So how can I overcome my fear of this बजटिंग थिंग? बहुत सारे वीडियोस अवेलेबल है, बहुत सारी किताबें अवेलेबल हैं, बहुत सारे लोग अवेलेबल हैं जो हेल्प करने को तैयार हैं, बट आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू इट. सो व्हाट कैन आई डू?
it's like everyone whom I meet is exactly like you, Bhavna. So it is my duty, people like us who will have to continuously work hard on convincing you all processes, budgeting works. You have to sit back, relax, and change your mindset. It's like you love to eat a certain type of food, but the moment you start budgeting, you can't control yourself. Life is all about your control over your food. If you can control your food, you will control your life. So
um, I think Alpa, are you there?
yeah, I think it's live on Facebook now.
Yes, it is. Alpa, you were saying life is all about control or something like that. And we
I
went out of control.
see certain things is not in our hand.
Yes.
So we should not think too much. And Bhavna, I am completely with you on that, that we should not get scared about future. We should live fully in the present. But at the same time, certain budgeting and certain planning, especially for our protection planning basket, is must. It is okay if you don't achieve one or two goals or dreams in your life, but what if you don't get the best treatment? What if you don't get the best uh, uh, hospital or doctors in your life when you need them? According to me, planning, budgeting is must. How much ever you are busy, how much ever you feel it's okay, ho jayega, nothing is going to happen to me, somebody is there who's always getting hit by such things. And I've given you my story. Even I used to think like you. But the moment my mother, I saw the story, I went through her life story, and then I realized that I have to do this. So budgeting is really important, Bhavna. Please start doing it today itself. And I've given you a very simple formula. It's so easy for you to follow.
So what I
Income minus all your investments, dreams, goals, and whatever is left over you spend. Usually what we all do is income minus all our expenses, and then whatever is left over we plan. Can we just change the positions of these two words in our life?
so
And if you do only this much, I think
no, I think that's fair. I am sorry to interrupt you. I feel that
no problem.
I have done two things to help myself because I cannot do budgeting or I'm not very disciplined. First of all, I think I go to a professional. I go to someone like you and ask, Ki bhai, help me sort this out. The second thing that I try to do is to keep one day in a month when I will review. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं कर सकते हैं.
But see, look, I think these two are best tips which audience can take it from Bhavna. So Bhavna has ensured that every once in a month, 1 hour she talks to me. And then at least one takeaway is there and she starts doing that. So I'm sure today the audience have got one takeaway, that you please invest some amount for your medical emergency. It's okay if you don't have critical illness, medical, fine. But at least invest some money and pray to God that you never have to use that. But there is no harm that you start emergency as your investment. And secondly, as Bhavna told, you have to take guidance from the experts. Please have one lawyer in your life, one doctor in your life, one mentor in your life who always guides you properly, and obviously one proper financial planner or insurance planner in your life. You need them you have to have them in your life, because they are the one who will continuously guide you. Like I would love to give you one more case study here. My very good friend, I would like to name her also. Her name is Rohini Iyer, and she used to stay in Dubai, and we are like sisters, and we just love each other. She was exactly like most of you, Bhavna, that she used to never think nothing is going to happen, why we should bother. I don't want to go for my body checkup. I don't want to, invite the troubles in my life. It's okay. Everything is going so proper. But I insisted her on taking Mediclaim and critical illness Mediclaim. And she's so fit, fine. She's like so perfect. But she fell down in Dubai in departmental store, and her both the legs, the knee got so badly damaged that she had to come back to India, and in Lilavati hospital she was operated, and 95% of the money which she spent on her operation she could get back. And then she was in tears, and she wrote such good feedback for me that, Alpa, good, I took this, and I don't think I would have got operated so nicely if I wouldn't have this Mediclaim policy with me, or critical illness policy with me. And all thanks to you. And lakhs of rupees she spent and she got it. And in Dubai, Bhavna, mind you, the medical treatment is so costly. She would have spent at least 4 times more than in India. And in India, she could do this completely free of cost.
So Alpa, I want us to do non-insurance conversations. So for example, there's a question, and now I'm going to request the audience to please put your questions or raise your hand, and we will take your questions now. What about senior citizens who will not be covered, and they will have more expense, and now increasingly, age spans are going up, So more and more people are living longer, and unfortunately, the incidence of medical conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, which really require a lot of expense, are also on the rise. So, if senior citizens, so there's a question as well that while the advertisements might say that senior citizens will be covered, but when you really go to them, senior citizens are not really covered by insurance. So, how can those people do their financial planning if they are over a certain age, or if we have to do it for our parents or our whatever, parents, in-laws, other dear people? What do we need to know for people who will not be covered by insurance?
So till the age of 75, you can get covered. And let me tell you, if you are taking say 15 lakhs rupees mediclaim, and if your age is 60, the premium is around 35,000 rupees per year. So it's all about your affordability, but you get. And if you're taking say critical illness, for example, then the premium is around 75,000 rupees if you're in the age bracket of 60 per year. So you do get all the critical illnesses you get. It's not that you don't get, but then it's all about whether you want to pay that kind of premium and you want to take it. So if you personally ask me, people live longer. People live up to 80, 85 also. I would suggest even at the age of 60 you should take. You must take all these things. And even for cancer specific mediclaim, if you are in the age group of 60, the premium per year is for say 25 lakhs rupees or so coverage is hardly 32,000 rupees a year, which is like 90 rupees a day.
No, Alpa, I want us to focus on non-insurance, please. So let's talk
Okay.
about, I have other sources of income, and I, let's say, insurance ho gaya ya nahi ho gaya ya whatever, right? So what can I do? What are other instruments that are available to me?
Okay, fine. So this is like generally what you all can do.
Yes,
So the
yes,
first and foremost, if you are a senior citizen and if you're
yes,
in the age group of say 60,
yes.
I think you should invest your money in less riskier product asset class.
Okay.
And this is not the age where you can invest your money in entire money into equity markets or any other alternate asset class like gold or maybe real estate also, not required. At this particular stage of your life, you need liquidity. Cash is the king for you because you may need the money for your lifestyle expenses, for your medical expenses, and for your other day to day things which you want to do with that money. So, first and foremost, I would highly recommend to all the senior citizens over here that you should invest your money in debt mutual funds or liquid mutual fund schemes. So, if your time horizon is say 1 day to 1 year, then liquid mutual fund scheme is the best for you. Very, very safe. And it's like you get very low returns, but very, very safe. And if your time horizon is say 1 year to 3 years, then you should invest your money in debt mutual fund schemes. When you are retiring, I think your time is gone that the compounding will work for you. See, when you are young, you can invest your money in equity because equity gives you good returns over a period of time, and then compounding works wonderfully well for you, right? But when you are retired, I think it's the time for you to whatever money you have accumulated from your entire life, you should just relax and you should just make it in such a, you should just invest it in such a way that it is quite safe and it's giving you reasonably good returns and you can use that for yourself by way of SWP option also, which is systematic withdrawal plan. So what happens is when you are young, you are accumulating wealth for yourself by way of SIP and STP. When you are like old, when you are retired, it's time for you to get the fruits out of all the hard work which you have put in. So now it's the time for you to invest your money in low risk product asset class like debt or liquid funds and then opt for SWP option which works like a pension for you. So systematic withdrawal plan. And what happens is every month, on a very autopilot way, on it just comes in your bank account. It's the entire system is so beautifully designed and so investor friendly, and it works wonderfully well. You don't have to do anything. Every month, first or whichever date you have selected, it just comes in your bank account, the returns from your investment. So maybe your principal amount is safe, you are not touching that, and whatever returns you are getting, you are using it for your lifestyle expenses like medical or any other expenses for that matter. So SWP works wonderfully well. Also, there is something called Bandhan SWP. Now, here I would like to tell you how caregivers can help the senior citizens. So, for example, my father is in Canada, and I'm here. My brother is the main caregiver for my father. So over there in Canada, everything is free. The entire medical is free. So my father goes for dialysis. He has put pacemaker. Everything is at zero cost. I mean, I have not seen any other country in the world where the senior citizens are given so much of respect. Zero cost, zero, and no medical expenses for my father who is there. But what I can do, I feel at times very guilty, right? That I'm not doing much for my father. I'm so far sitting here, what I can do. At the most, I can go and visit them, right? But there is something called Bandhan SWP. So how Bandhan SWP works is that I can invest certain amount for my father as a caregiver. I can invest it in my name, but the SWP goes to my father.
Oh,
So what happens is, yeah, it's a very beautiful system which is there. Everyone should make the best use of all these facilities and options and features available. So what happens is, this Bandhan SWP, I cannot opt for everyone. There is a restriction only for my husband or the spouse, children, brother, sister, or my parents. So I can invest certain amount, and the returns or the my father can take it
right.
in Canada, in any part of the world. So the Bandhan SWP works wonderfully well for the children who are far off but still want to do something for their parents. And it is, and you tell me one thing, Bhavna, which parent would like to take money from children? But if it is like on an autopilot mode, it just comes in your bank and you're just using it. It's a system driven thing, right? So you don't feel that pinch that you are taking that money from your daughter or for your son. It doesn't matter, right? It's such a beautiful process driven thing.
Correct.
And
But the other thing is also that, you know, uh, there is sometimes you feel that maybe the more productive generation can have an investment and you have some surplus. So you kind of put that investment in a good place. And it's the returns that are taking care of the person that you're looking after. So to some extent, your investment is also protected, but the returns are providing for the person that you're looking after, whether long distance or in the same place. We have a question, Alpa, that if there is a senior citizen who is the primary caregiver to their son, okay, and sometimes caregivers are older than the person being looked after, and the biggest fear such caregivers have is what after me. So, what can somebody do to provide for people that they have to look after sometimes due to mental health conditions or other disabilities or other whatever, where the caregiver is far older than and may not have coverage, may not have investments, but has to provide for their children?
yeah, so these are very typical cases, and at times we do suggest that they especially if the caregiver is senior citizen and the child at times is differently abled, that worry is always there, and so many cases I have come across. So we suggest that if the person is financially quite okay, then they should form the trust. So after they go, the child should not suffer, and the trust can look after the child. So this is a very, very important succession planning suggestion which we give to all the senior caregivers who can afford to do. Now, there are so many senior caregivers who cannot afford. Now, those are have to be handled separately, differently. So, the organizations like charitable organizations like Rotary, Lions Club of India, or even the Chief Minister's Fund, etc., they continuously come out with beautiful schemes which really helps people like those who really need such money and those who are genuinely not able to afford such treatment. So obviously, such cases can be taken care by the charitable organizations and stuff like that. But otherwise, I would suggest the person should form the trust, and then the trust can look after the child extremely well. In fact, there are so many government initiatives also which I would like to mention here, Bhavna. But these are, as I told you, unfortunately, this is only for the lower strata income group people. And at times, the biggest worry for the middle class people is that what can they do? Where can they go? And there is no answer at times, you know. I mean, I feel so bad that just because they are not in the lower strata income group, they don't get any facility also, and they cannot even ask for money anywhere, you know. And they are the people who are suffering a lot, if you personally ask me.
Which
And
is why budgeting and knowing your money and planning your money is becomes
will
important.
help. Will That's the only way, Bhavna. There is no other, because as I told you, our country is not giving you any social security, unlike Canada. So my brother, he doesn't have to worry at all because he knows that his entire retirement planning is well taken care by government. He doesn't have to spend a single rupee on medical when he's going to retire. So he doesn't
Mm,
worry. But people in India like us, we will surely have to worry for our social security when we retire. And this is a question which, to a great extent, I don't have an answer.
mm,
So quickly, I would also like to mention here what kind of facilities or schemes which government have for the lower strata income group people. So just for people to spread this amongst their support staff or the people who are coming in this category. So there is something called Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, wherein in just 12 rupees a year your maid, driver, or whoever you would like to, inform this, they can take this government's scheme and they can take this 2 lakh insurance just by paying 12 rupees a year. And there is something called Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. Now, this in 330 rupees or so in 1 year, you get the mediclaim of 25,000 rupees for yourself. So I have taken that for my maid. So in case if she has to go for any medical treatment, up to 25,000 rupees she can claim for from this. And then there is also a very beautiful thing for the physically challenged child. So if you have a physically challenged child, and if you are in the lower strata income group people, then up to 36,000 rupees a year, government will pay for the education of that child. And also if the child is in hostel or in some organization where they are looking after him, then up to 1 lakh rupees the caregivers can get, the parents, basically the parents can get. And also one more scheme is there which I would like to mention here is that Rehabilitation Council of India has given a special benefit for the caregivers. They have recognized caregiver as a very, very important community. So Bhavna, uh, I'm so happy that people like you who are spreading so much for caregivers. As I told you, even I was not knowing that I'm a caregiver, And when Bhavna came in my life, I got that respect for myself that, look, I'm the caregiver. So this council is working so much for caregivers, and the special benefit for caregiver is like differently able dependents. If you have, then it's working so much, and I think they are continuously going to represent to the government, and they are working hard. And there is some special tax deduction, etc., is also available for
Can
them.
you give me the name again, please?
Yeah, it's called Rehabilitation Council of India. And also, last thing which I would like to mention here is every hospital has a special desk for the lower strata income group people, and the social workers, which they work only for the healthcare rights of the patients. So whoever comes to the hospital, whether poor, social worker works for them. So social worker is basically a link between the patient and the hospital. And social worker provides frontline services to patients, and it helps patients and their families, and it works through their emotions, and then they provide them counseling, and then they arrange finances also. So I would like to share a very beautiful, real story and the project which I had done. So I'm a very active Rotarian, and I do a lot of medical projects from Rotary. So last year we had done a beautiful project called Little Heart Surgeries. So every year close to 2 lakh children by birth is having heart disease. And out of this 2 lakh children, 1 lakh 60,000 children cannot afford the surgeries. They are so poor. And if they don't do the surgery, these children will die. And again, from that, almost 80% of the children are from the villages, urban area. So what we did, there is a fund from Chief Minister's fund is there. Then there is organizations like Rotary, where Rotary Foundation also has a lot of fund. And there are so many other organizations who have funds, who use the funds for the upliftment of people, especially in medical projects. So what we did in SRCC hospital, close to almost 100 children's surgery we did with the help of Chief Minister's Fund, with the help of Rotary Foundation and Rotary funds, and then the individual donors who have big heart to donate. And then the social worker at the hospital, she worked so efficiently, Bhavna. She's like next to God for these parents, because she is the one. Her name was Archana. I would love to share her name also. Archana, as a social worker, she was doing her job. She was getting paid for that, but she saved 100 children's lives because of this facility which was available. More than hospital doctors, I used to talk to Archana because she was arranging the finances for these children. And she was the social worker. And she did all these things so beautifully well. So social worker in every hospital is there. Please make the best use of it. If in case you need funds, don't feel shy. You must approach them, and you should try your best if you can get financing from anywhere.
I think
And
the most important part here is the fact that while we might be caregivers, we are also sometimes well-wishers of other caregivers, especially the lower income people who don't have access to this information. So when we can help others, good karma always comes around. So if the government provides for support for lower income and the marginalized, then we can certainly spread awareness. I think that's
I would like to add one thing, Bhavna. Not just the lower strata income group people, but at times, even if you are a middle class person, and if you feel that you have to pay, say, 50,000 rupees for the operation, and you have 30,000 rupees. Now where to go for the balance 20,000 rupees? So the social worker who's there in the hospital or the department which is there, you should not hesitate to go and talk to them that this is the situation, please help me. Because all these government schemes is meant for lower strata income group people, but foundations like Rotary doesn't stop by helping the real needy person. In fact, they are more than happy to help people who need that. So what if they are not in that category, or they are not into the lower strata income group? They need money right now to do that operation. So please don't feel shy. Come forward, talk to the department, because they are very well connected and they day in, day out do this. And I would not like to name, but there are so many people who are working in a bank, who are working in an organizations like you and me. Still at times they don't have money, and they have got money and they have repaid back also over a period of time.
Sure.
So please make the best use of all these facilities. Don't ever feel shy to ask for money if you don't have it for the operation of your patient.
So this has been, we can go on and on because the topic is something that can, one can always have many more clarifications. And we would like to have more such sessions where we can, look at what else can be provided. I'm just mindful that we have bust our time boundaries. So I think we are on time. I'm going to ask for people to raise their hands and or leave their question in the chat box. But in the meanwhile, I have taken away from you, Alpa, once again, something that you say all the time is कि discipline सबसे बड़ी चीज है. Being process oriented is very important. It's not important whether or not you have an insurance plan. What is important is how well you manage the money that you have and provide for in the future. I do think insurance is a full topic. And in fact, that's the reason that we have decided to have a special session this month with another dear friend, Rajiv Shastri, and we will be conducting a special session on understanding health care insurance. That's next week. And I would urge all of you to get as many more participants. But I think for today's session, in addition to insurance, it's absolutely critical that we invest time, be disciplined, be organized, and despite our fear, take one step at a time. So take professional help, ask friends to nudge us, ask clarifications, and make time to understand this monster called money.
No, monster, it's not a monster. It's a very, very dear friend who helps us in so many things.
Thank you. No, thank you. Alpa, your closing remarks, please.
To all my, specifically to all my women caregivers, I love you all. And for you, please look after your health absolutely nicely. And you are going to live longer, and you are usually younger than your spouses. So you will need to have complete control over your health and over your wealth. If you collapse, everything will collapse. You are at the center of your home. So all my dear moms, sisters, mothers, every woman who is listening to me, please look after yourself and plan it out. Everything is possible if you decide it. Everything is in your head. And trust me, right now, my husband is COVID positive. So I'm the main caregiver right now. But I'm telling you, I never thought that this is going to happen in my house. The entire house is on me. I have a pet, I have 2 teenage boys. So, but if I wouldn't have told you, I don't think you would have ever come to know that I'm passing through this phase of my life. So be very happy, be very cheerful, make others happy, and you are the one who's going to make the difference. So be very strong. Thank you so much.
I don't think I have anything to say after that. It is fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Brilliant.
Love you, Bhavna. You are doing commendable job. God bless you.
Thank you. So kind of you. I am so grateful for the lovely work that you do and how you inspire and encourage so many people. Thank you very much. Have a very good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for investing your time and joining us. And let's make friends with money.
Yeah.
Thank
God
you.
bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.